Welcome back to 7997 with your hosts Chris and Jackie, two black immigrants trying to live our best life in Mexico. It's just me today. Jackie's out having a moo party or something, hanging out with the girls. I don't know, she'll tell you about it some other time. But I guess today what I really wanted to talk about was what's your motivation? When we're talking about moving abroad, leaving the place you're in, going to someplace new, what's really motivating you? What kind of motivated me for this conversation was a discussion I had in a Facebook group for the Mexico Relocation Guide, which I want to give a big shout out to. You know, you may have seen us do videos for them in the past. It may have been something that draws you here to our channel. It's something we use on a regular basis. This is not, sponsored or anything by them. I just think it's a great resource. I paid for it myself out of my own pocket. And I think it's a great resource for anyone looking to relocate to Mexico. And the woman, Mariana, who runs the Mexico Relocation Guide, put up a post in this Facebook group and said, hey, I'm really tired of seeing businesses profit or try to profit off of using fear to drive people to Mexico, to drive their business, whether they're facilitating or helping people or whatever the case may be. She's tired of seeing them use fear as their main motivator. I can speak from firsthand experience, like she really is about the love of Mexico and wanting to draw people down rather than using fear to kind of run people away from the United States and into, Mexico or even some other country that, a particular business might be trying to help facilitate people to move to. So I can understand that viewpoint. I can understand wanting to have the right motivation behind your business. That's something I think we look to here at this channel as well. We have a love for Mexico and we're here because we enjoy Mexico. But on the flip side of that, we are also here because we wanted to leave the United States. There was a sense of fear for us to be there in the way things were. And this was back in Trump's first presidency, not even all the new things that have kind of come out from the second presidency. So I understand there really needs to be sort of that dual motivation, I think, for a lot of people. You have to have a reason to leave. If you feel like you're comfortable and you're good where you are, there's probably not a whole lot of reason for you to leave. But you also kind of should want to, or should enjoy or love or like the place you're trying to go to. I think if you end up trying to just, run away from a problem, you might end up running into another problem if you're not looking to understand the place where you're going and understand, what benefits you can get out of it and what might draw you towards it rather than just running away from something. And on our channel, we do have a little bit of a mix of both of those things. You'll definitely see content from us that is maligning what the state of the U.S. is right now, because it's something that we're not very happy with, and I think a lot of people aren't, and that's another way for us to connect with an audience who probably feels that same way. But on the flip side of that, you'll also see us living everyday life in Mexico, sharing the things we enjoy, sharing the reasons why you should come here, why it should draw you down, and not just be a way to kind of make you want to escape this, environment that you're in the United States that you may not be enjoying right now. So there's definitely a need, I think, for both of those things in the equation. And you always want to check your own motivations, whether you're a content creator or a business or just someone who's looking to get up and move at some point. Check your motivations to make sure that you're not running away from a situation that you don't like and running into a situation that you might not like even more because you're not even looking at the place you're going. You just want to get away. So even thinking about our content, there's content when we look at, we do all kinds of things here, and there's certain content that definitely does better than other things. So we've noticed that anytime you try and pit United States against Mexico in some way, that just draws in, I think, that conversation, that conflict, that argument of which is better, which is, treating each other worse in what situation. There's all this sort of, I think, built up animosity around it, and that, that anger and that negativity can definitely fuel more views on our content. So that's always something we're looking to kind of explore a little bit more, because we know you guys watching it want to see that and want to participate in that conversation. But we also know that that just can't be the only thing we talk about. You can't just be all negativity all the time. There has to be some balance to it. So we're looking at last week I posted my birthday, in a great restaurant, in a beautiful environment, there's a reason for us to be here. It's not just because it's not the United States. It's because we actually enjoy Mexico. We enjoy San Miguel. The weather is beautiful. The restaurants are great. The environment is nice. The people are nice. The cost of living is a lot better than where we were. There's reasons for us to be here, and it's not just about, some type of escapism to get out of the United States. So if I backtrack to that original conversation that sparked this, there was a lot of sort of comments in there that really talked about, a lot of people being happy that she's kind of brought this up. And, I think feeling that same sort of, concern around, seeing a lot of negative imagery being put out there to help motivate people to make that move and possibly, help out someone's business who's trying to help you relocate from one place to another. But there's also, on the flip side of that conversation, people who have really real feelings of fear. Like if you're someone who is, on the spectrum, if you are LGBTQ community, all these things that are now sort of like othered, right? That are sort of pushed out of being normal now. There's a very, palpable fear that something could happen to you, that, if something does happen to you, government's going to look the other way. We see situations where people are being deported for whatever reason they feel like, stuck in other countries and can't get back home. So there's a lot of things that are changing in a lot of ways that people just really aren't ready for and don't feel comfortable in. And I've heard it, phrased as just being like uncertainty. And like there's a part of it that is uncertainty, and there's a lot of it that there is now a new certainty of, you kind of know the way that you're treated, the way that people are looking at you, and the way that they are sort of removing you from that aspect of being normal, removing you from the protections of the government. So there are things that I think people have a real fear of. For us, it was a big motivator. Like, I had to get my wife out of the United States because there was a point in time where she was afraid to go to the grocery store because of all of the mass shootings and the rhetoric that was being put out there. Really was sort of not even anti against these things. There was no, push towards gun laws, no push towards reform. There was no push towards, these things are racially motivated and that's wrong. It was really just kind of like, oh, well, we gotta, not have the crazy people with guns. And like, okay, everybody has guns. And it got to a point where like my life is being affected, our family is being affected by just this everyday rampant fear. Where you don't feel safe to go outside of your house because of the violence that's happening, and specifically the violence against people of color in the United States. I can't even begin to imagine how people who have to live in the United States every day on the ground in this new administration not only have that to contend with, also having, financial troubles going down where, your 401k is now all of a sudden minus, $20,000 to $50,000 because of swings in the market. You see the government kind of falling apart. You could have lost your job if you're one of the many government workers that live in the United States. So like, I don't want to ever downplay the fear that people have, because it is real and it is based in fact and truth and the way they feel. But all of us feel it a little bit different, right? Some of us happen to be, a little better place financially, or be more around of our own people, and we feel more insulated from maybe that hatred towards, whatever our particular group is. So like everybody has a different, I guess, tolerance for the environment they're in and how much they actually feel that environment. So that fear for you is different than the fear for somebody else. And I think we have to make space for that and, realize that what may just be uncertainty for you is actually a, bona fide, real fear of losing your life or your well-being, or the way that you kind of, have your lifestyle put together now could be taken away from you, where someone else may not feel that pain as close. So we kind of have to give each other some grace and some space around this, just to fully realize that, there is something to run towards, whether you go into Mexico, or you want to go to Thailand or Malaysia or Canada or Japan, or wherever you feel like you want to go to, if the United States is not the place for you anymore. But make sure that wherever you're going, you understand it's a place that you want to be. You understand the pros and the cons, the pluses and the minuses, what it's like to kind of be there every day on the ground. You may find yourself in a place that's actually worse if you don't do that type of research, if you don't have that understanding. So as always, I thank you guys for listening. I'd love you all to continue this conversation in the comments. For those of you who are thinking about moving or have already moved, what were your motivations to kind of get out of the situation you were in? where you're looking for a new adventure, where you're looking for a new life out there? Did you go to some country on vacation and just fall in love and feel like you had to be there? Or are you trying to get out of the situation in the US right now? Or even maybe it's Canada or wherever country you might be in, where maybe you're just not happy with, the status quo as it is right now and you want to be someplace else. We'd love to hear that story. If you'd like to hear a little bit more about our story, you can go check us out at 7997.life. You can schedule a consultation. If you're deciding to maybe go to Mexico, we can give you, a little bit more insight into what we went through and what it's like to be here on the ground every day, which might help you make your decision of where you might want to go next. So as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Buy us a coffee, become a member so you can see all these videos and content early. And as always, we thank you guys for watching. Cuídate, Arias Garce, take care, take a chance. Peace, y'all.